In a primary school classroom, introducing tessellations using templates is a great way to go. However, for the tessellations task, we've found that many students like to work with technology to create their designs. So for each of our methods, we'll work through an example in PowerPoint. Now, PowerPoint is by no means the best graphics program, but in general, it's accessible and reasonably easy to do the things that we need to. So let's see how we go. Here we're looking at the method of altering pairs of opposite sides using translation. Now, so that what we make here can match up with what we expect in the assignment, I'm going to start by creating a table that will map out my steps of alteration. So I'm going to go to Insert, then Table, select 3x4, and then I'll change the fill and border and reshape it all so that I have a panel for 6 pictures plus a space to write in some instructions underneath. Now for our first panel, go to Insert and then click on the Shapes icon, then choose any shape that tessellates by translation. I'll choose a rectangle, and so you can then click and drag to set your starting size. So at this stage, you can remove the fill. That'll make things easier to see, and you might want to change the border color later, but leaving it as is for the moment is fine. Now again, to do this so that it's suitable for the assignment, I'm going to add some vertex labels. Usually we put these in order either clockwise or anti-clockwise. So I click on the text box icon, drag somewhere to create a text box, and then write the label in. We can then use copy and paste using Control-C and Control-V, or Command-C and Command-V on a Mac, and then just edit the text, move these to where we want them. And so that's my starting shape. And that would be the first diagram for my assignment. So I'm now going to copy all of this and then paste it as my next shape. So I copy, paste, drag across. And so I then go to Insert and Shapes again, and this time I can choose one of the line draw tools. The one that I'm going to choose is Curve. This one adds some curvature to the points you choose. And so to draw the line, I click on the vertex that I'm starting at, then move along, clicking at various points to create a curve before I finally double click on the vertex that the line ends at. So this is my first alteration. I might make it a different color to make it easier to see. And now again, so that I can see and describe the sequence of steps later, I'm now going to copy all of this and paste it and drag it to the next step. So for step 3 of our design, this is where we actually apply this Escher method of alteration. We copy this line using the Control or Command-C again, and then paste it, and then drag it down so that it sits on the opposite side. So the isometry we're using here is translation, and we refer to the Escher method as alteration of opposite parallel sides using translation. Now let's look back at our previous steps and how we would write the descriptions. In the first diagram, we've presented our shape. We can refer to it as a rectangle or a square, if it is a square, and then the label ABCD. In step 2, we've created an alteration from D to A, so this will be our new side. And then in step 3, we've translated that alteration on DA to the opposite parallel side CB. Now note that we've used some key terminology there, the word translated, and then also acknowledging that the opposite side is parallel. And we can do some extra things here to make our diagrams look even a little neater. So we can edit points of the square, so right click, edit points, and then selecting open up the point, and then selecting the point that it creates and deleting that point so that we remove the side that we changed. And then for the next shape, I can't use that same method I just used, but I'll just redraw the straight lines on those unaltered sides. So now you can continue to use similar steps on the next 2 cells and the sides DC and AB. Remember to use copy and paste where you need to. And now once we've done that, if we want to be able to add color or design to the shape, I use the following method. Make these borders a little thicker. You can do that, hold down Shift and click on the lines to select more than one at a time. And then now I use the Freeform Shape tool to trace around the shape. You'll need to be zoomed in to do this. It's hard to see here, but I'm just moving around and clicking once at every point, and it'll put a vertex there. So I'm following along the lines and being careful with the curves. Then, once I click on the first vertex again, the shape will close up. Now, if I want to neaten things up a little, I can then right-click and select Edit Points. And then I can right-click in order to send it to the back so that it just becomes the flat color behind the lines of our shape. Now, if we copy and paste all this, we can start tessellating on the next page. In your assignment, you might want to show this using more steps, but here we'll just demonstrate how to use that shape to create a tessellation. I'm going to move my vertices onto the inside of the shape so that we can focus on where those vertices line up, but you might want to just delete them all together. So now I'm going to group all my elements together, make a group, and I'm going to copy and paste to tessellate the plane. If you want to only move the shape a little bit, you can use the arrow keys on your keyboard, otherwise just dragging usually works. And so now hopefully this gives you a good idea of how to create Escher designs in PowerPoint applying the method of altering opposite sides using translation.